The following program was underwritten by the Resource Enhancement and Protection Conservation Education Program.
Hey, Dave Williams here. I'm going to talk about site preparation before planting native vegetation. And we are on the campus of the University of Northern Iowa. As you can see, we installed this tallgrass prairie planting, I believe it was 2 years ago, so it's a new developing planting. And at that time, we had this old road that was used as an old haul road, and we thought at the time that we could just drill with our native vegetation. We could just drill right over this haul road, and we'd get we'd get native plants to fill in. Well, that hasn't happened, and this is a good example of soil compaction. And I'll show you. I've got a little screwdriver to show you exactly what I mean by compacted soil. But 2 years ago, large equipment had gone over this road, and so I suspected it was compacted, but not having native plant establishment just really took it home. And so we're here today to try to fix that problem. We're going to disc this compacted soil and then replant it, hopefully, and we'll get native plant establishment. So I've got a big screwdriver, and what I say about testing for compacted soil is make multiple pokes in the soil, and I've marked a line on this screwdriver at 2 inches. And we have just had a couple of rains in the last couple of days, so this soil is actually fairly damp, and so this will be a good test for compacted soil. So I've got my 2-inch mark, and I'm just going to poke it in the ground here, and that's it. I'm putting all my body weight, and I'm a light 250 pounds, and as you can see, I can only poke it in probably 1 inch to 3/4 of an inch. And this soil is really, really compacted. But you don't want to take just one sample. You actually want to convince yourself that it's compacted. So take 10 to 20 samples and just poke it in. Again, I can't even get half of my 2-inch distance. I'll try up here. And it just seems about the same, 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch. That's as far as the penetration I can get. And that's it. So this soil is really severely compacted, and we're going to have to disc it up. By comparison, the planting site actually began right on the edge of this road. Well, we included this as the planting site, but this is the soil that's not compacted, and right next to the compacted soil. And we are October 20th, so we're getting pretty late in the season, and we still have New England aster blooming out here. In it, by the way, we're setting a record today. I think it's close to 80 degrees, and it's very humid. So just to check for compacted soil over here, stick my screwdriver down, and you can see, I'll just pull it up, the top of my finger was how far I stuck it in the soil. So there's an obvious difference between soil that's compacted and soil that's not compacted. But just to prove to myself this is not compacted soil, I'll stick it down over here again. And again, I was able to stick this big screwdriver, I don't know, about 5 inches into the soil fairly easily. So, that's a difference. You can have compacted soil on the same site, right side by side, with soil that's in just, a good condition for seeding. And we already know this was a haul road, so this was kind of obvious, but it may not be so obvious in your planting site. And so, it's worthwhile if you suspect that there's been a lot of equipment driving over a certain part of your planting site, just take a screwdriver out and jab it in the soil and just prove to yourself that it's not compacted before you plant. So we've made 2 passes on our compacted soil with our disc, and I just wanted to kind of give you an idea what it looks like after 2 passes. I'm sure I'm going to have to make about 6 to 10 passes before I'm done, before I feel like it's been cultivated enough that it'll be a good seed bed for the no-till drill. But I do talk about clod size a little bit in our book, and clods that are this big are just too big be drilling into. And so one reason to make more passes on our disc is just basically to break these clods up into smaller clods to something like this, or maybe even a little bit smaller. As you can see here in the compacted soil, when you disc it, it typically discs up not in a real uniform way. You'll have areas where there are big clods and areas where the soil is starting to get really nice and fine. What you have to do is just disc it or till it until the majority of the soil is at a uniform clod size, which is about 1 inch clod or even a little bit smaller. Obviously, clods that are this big are just way too big, to seed into. This is, this has got to be broken up. This has got to be broken up into a much smaller piece. And the only way to do that is just to run the disc or run your rototiller over it more times. And that's the beauty about tillage. You can just keep tilling it until you turn it into fine powder. I don't think you want to go that far. But when you get the clods down to about 1 inch or a little bit smaller than 1 inch in size, you're looking at a pretty good seed bed. We're at our wetland demonstration site on the campus of University of Northern Iowa. Basically, our wetland demonstration area, they built a couple of ponds out there. It's been seeded with sedges and native grasses and wildflowers, and I think all in all, I think we used about 100 different native species. So as part of the construction of this wetland demonstration area, they had to bring big equipment in here for excavation of the lakes. And this was their access route right through here. We called it a part of their haul road because they did have to haul out material to create those big lakes back there. And so what we did is we came in, it was really compacted. The soil was compacted. We tested it with our screwdriver test, and we could barely get our big screwdriver into the soil. It was so compacted. So a couple of days ago, we came out and we ran our 10-foot disc over the site, and you can see it's fairly loosened up, small clods, and then we just got done seeding it with our no-till Truex no-till drill, seed drill. It is November 2nd. It's getting pretty late in the season. There's definitely rain on the forecast, so we want to get this site done prior to the rainfall event. As you can see, we're spreading out straw right now after we've drilled it. And we'll come back with our cul-de-packer. We have a 100-year-old cul-de-packer, and we'll cul-de-pack and kind of press that straw into the soil. There's two benefits with cul-de-packing. One is you can pinch that straw in the soil, and it'll definitely reduce soil erosion over winter, and we'll get some residual effect in the spring. And the second thing is when you cul-de-pack, you actually enhance the seed to soil contact. We'll probably get better emergence of our natives next spring. And I just wanted to show our old cul-de-packer, which is probably 100 years old, I would imagine. You can see it's got two different styles of spikes. It has the pointed spike wheel and the wheel that's more of a solid wheel. And originally this piece of equipment was pulled probably by horses, I would imagine. This is pre-gasoline days. But what we did is we actually took some parts off of an old rototiller, so we adapted it to our 3-point on our tractor. And so we welded on some 3-point attachments, and we've made it so it's a 3-point, we can pull it with our tractor. One really kind of interesting thing about this cul-de-packer is that you might find these on field edges. A lot of times farmers have them, they don't even know it. Their predecessors used it and they put it in the corner of the field and it's got weeds growing around it. And these are a really valuable tool when you're planting native prairie. It enhances the seed to soil contact, and they really do work. I think I paid $20 at an auction. If you can find them, they're fairly inexpensive, but they really do work when you're planting natives. We're at the old haul road that we disced up a couple of days ago, and I just wanted to point out we're in the process of using our no-till drill and we're seeding it. And sometimes when you're drilling, you'll pull up rocks like this one right here, and it's a good idea to go back after you've drilled and at least pick up the rocks and make a pile somewhere, you know, where you can pick them up later, or make a pile so you can see them. The reason why is because we want to do establishment mowing on this new seeding, and if you leave the rocks in there, chances are you might hit it with your mower. So it's just a good idea to you know, take the time and pick up some of the bigger rocks that are going to interfere with your establishment mowing when you mow it that following growing season.